This movie kind of interested me because I could tell that they used the same techniques as George Lucas did in Star Wars, and probably how they did it stuff in Star Trek, the motion picture. But there was just something that they didn't really make. There was like a step that they missed that made their spaceships look like models and not real. And of course, I'm talking about Starcrash, right? So you had the big blockbuster Star Wars, so everybody's trying to get into that game. I talked about Hundra, how it was trying to cash in on the momentum that Conan the Barbarian made. So this is their attempt to cash in on the momentum from Star Wars. So let's talk about Starcrash. And like I said, this movie kind of interested me because it's clear that they used a lot of the same techniques that they used in Star Wars. But however, it kind of came off cheap and fake. So I'm kind of interested, like, what did they not do that George Lucas did to make his galaxy, his spaceships look realistic out in outer space, while theirs did not. Got some hints there. As you see, though, they kind of lean in more, as you see on the screen behind me, more into the fantasy of outer space. George Lucas is very more realistic. You got stars out there far out in space and stuff. Here, they use more, I don't know, you got like lava lamp type of technology going on. Star Trek, the motion picture as well, was more like Star Wars, more realistic galaxy outer space stuff than this movie. But you can kind of tell this movie was heavily influenced by Star Wars. It even has the big ship at the beginning coming through the camera. Unlike the Death Star, that looks very realistic, this one looks very fake. So, I was trying to think, like I said at the beginning, what was some things that this one lacked that George Lucas added? This is kind of like something like I would, if I was any knowledge in this making, it's kind of like a movie that I would make. But there are some clear differences. One is the sound effects are drastically inferior to Star Wars. I was going to compare it to Star Wars. I'm going to talk about Star Trek, but to Star Wars. Another thing is, like, when the Death Star comes through. It actually has blinking lights. You can actually see the engines on the back firing up and blowing. This one, where the engine's supposed to be, ignited, there's nothing there, so they didn't put any special effects where the engine should be lit up. But yeah, it's still, though, even with those special effects, you still can't tell that this Death Star is a model, a fake, But on this movie, when they show the outer hull of these spaceships in outer space, you can tell that they've been put together, that they're all models. That's one of the many problems with this movie. But that's one thing that did kind of interest me was, what was the extra step that Lucas took to make his more realistic? I think he built the Battlestar, if I remember right, out of the Death Star. The Death Star out of a bunch of battleship pieces, right, to put that together. And you can't really tell when you're seeing it on the screen because it looks very realistic. But anyways, I'm not talking about Star Wars. I'm talking about Starcrash. Another thing, though, kind of did what's impressed me with this was the stop motion with the giant statues of the woman gladiators. It's not the best stop motion that I saw, but it was pretty impressive, especially when you compare it to Clash of the Titans, which came out around the same time period, maybe at the same year, maybe a year or two later. They were pretty much close, shot for shot, well done as Clash of the Titans. So that's one thing that I found interesting about this movie was that even though it's a B movie, you can see that they were using the same technology and techniques as Star Wars, Clash of the Titans, Star Trek motion picture. It's just that I guess they didn't have that extra oomph they had their amp went to 10 and it needed it to go to 11, right? Just to get them over the top for realistic ability. In this movie, now the acting is pretty bad. Even though it has Christopher Plummer, he does a pretty good job. But nobody really does a fantastic job in this one. This is David Hasselhoff, a very young David Hasselhoff. I'm pretty sure this is one of his first movies, if not his first movie. And boy, oh boy, he was terrible in this movie. He was, you would not think by watching this that he would become a TV icon with Knight Rider and later with Baywatch, and then be one of the first judges in America Got Talent. But he's in this one. He plays the prince. He still looks handsome. He's a young David Hasselhoff. You can never complain about his looks. But you would never think that this dude would be, like I said, a TV icon. I thought the lead actress was a better actress. If somebody said if she would have later became a TV icon, I would say, yeah, that makes sense because it is her movie and she does pretty good. She kind of carries it as far as she could with a movie like this. Her name was Carolyn. Let me get in my notes here. Carolyn Munro. She does a pretty good job as the lead actress. There's not much of a script to work with. Apart from the special effects, the script is kind of weak, right? The fighting scenes are something to desire. You even have a lightsaber scene. Even like they're talking about this shot here behind me going on here. You can totally tell that's a fake model. It kind of looks like the background and some instances are just a black sheet with holes poked in them and light shining through. Anyways, Carolyn Munro does a pretty good job in this one. She looks good. Very pretty good woman when she was young. Maybe when she was old too, I don't know. But she would look good in this one. But they did have a lightsaber scene, and their lightsabers are very fake. Very fake. Like I said, you can tell this movie really liked money, but I'm not sure if it was so much money or talent to bring this movie out. Of course, I'm not going to really say much more. If you wanted, I think, what's that? Anyways, lost my train of thought there for a second. You can find this on Amazon Prime. It's a pretty good B movie. It was it entertaining? You got to judge some of these movies, even if they're bad, if they're entertaining enough to watch. Yeah, I guess it's entertaining enough to watch. If you want a good laugh, see how things were done, what separates a Star Wars movie from a Starcrash movie. This is a great one to check out. Like I said, it's on Amazon Prime. Let me look down and see if there's anything I also wanted to say about this. No, that's about all I gotta say about Starcrash. What do you guys think about Starcrash? Is this one of your favorite B movies? Let me know in your comments below. And I'm pretty sure, was it 3000 Theater? I can't remember the name. Was it 3000 Theater? When they might watch movies and make fun of it. I think they got a couple. I think they have an episode based off this Starcrash movie. But for 70s, it's pretty good. I would say it's not too far below the good old the Flash Gordon movie that came out a year or two later with that one. Anyways, have a great day. Until next time, bye. I can't believe I talked 9 minutes about Starcrash. Adios.